got a camera, so he's like, oh! No, you've never had a camera pointed at me. So my name is Jo, I'm the project coordinator for COPE. It's my son Maya, as Dominic explained. So COPE has two main roles. It's to train local staff to make prosthetics and do rehabilitation services, and also we pay for patients' costs so they can receive a free service. So you're standing in the COPE Visitor Centre, which is part of the National Rehabilitation Centre. This is a government building, it's a government rehab facility that you're standing in here. All the staff we work with are local government staff, so there's 3 foreigners working here with about 120 local people. Sorry to use that terminology, that's okay. So one of the main reasons that COPE is in Laos is because of these things here, and we're only in Laos, we're not anywhere else, we're a local project. So these particular cluster bombs, Laos is the worst affected country in the world in terms of cluster munitions. Now these ones here are the most common type, and you can see the cases suspended above you, and this is basically to illustrate how they work. So they're designed to kill people. One of these cases here covers a radius of about 3 football fields. So we can kill anyone or anything standing in that area. So as the change in air pressure causes the case to open, and then 680 individual bombs come tumbling out. This is a real one. These are actually a cast made by our staff, so you can have a look at that. So you can see in the case is about 300 ball bearings and a very soft metal. So when the explosives inside is triggered, that sends out shards of metal and ball bearings about 30 metres, which is the length of this room. So you have 680 individual bombs which need to spin to arm, and then the impact makes them explode. About 280 million individual bombs like this were dropped over Laos over 8 years. And the reason they were used so extensively in Laos was that there wasn't many ground troops, because they're so indiscriminate. So it's a very different kind of weapon to a landmine, which is designed to slow down movements of troops, because you don't kill the person, you injure them, so you need a doctor and another person to carry them. These are designed to kill you. Short and simple. So this is just one type of cluster munition here. Have you passed around? Pass the cluster bomb, pass
Sammy nearly.
This is just one type, this is the most common type, but here you also see these long cases, these aluminium cases, and these had these round ones inside that work in a very similar way, but it's the air passing up through here that makes it spin, and that's what arms this one. This one's known locally as the pineapple, so it has a little pin on the side that when that's in, then it won't explode, and these fins are folded over. As it comes out of the tube, the fins pop up. Yes, it's exciting, isn't it? And then they stabilise it, so when it hits the ground it has to land right on the end on this little pin to explode, and again that sends out ball bearings over a 30-metre radius. These were actually, if they didn't explode, you can imagine if they tumbled into a tree, then they didn't land right on the end and they wouldn't explode, and they could be used as landmines. People could reuse them. So here's one of the cases that you see suspended down in January. He'd need to bring a family member with him, we don't have any nursing staff here. So he made this 2-day journey with his sister, who was quite young at the time, like 17 or 18. And he had surgery, and I remember the day he had surgery because he was watching another child have surgery through the window. There's a window between the 2 rooms. And being English, I was like, oh no, you mustn't see that, it's terrible. And rushed to kind of shut the curtains, and he said, no, I want to see what they're going to do to me. And I can see that he's asleep, and it's okay. So he watched the other boy have surgery and then went in. And I was there when he woke up, and he saw his foot was in that position as you see in that first picture. And he said, oh, it's beautiful, and then back to sleep. So then we could really get the rehab going. So we could make a prosthesis for his right leg, and we made a support, or the staff did, made a support for his left leg. And so then he started in parallel bars and then on more and more difficult terrain. And then one day he said to me, I'm going to go back to school. I said, oh, I think that's a good idea. And it finally, I think it really clicked for him what it was all about. It wasn't just coming to Vientiane, it was about what he would be able to do in the future. And we found out he was a very keen swimmer, and he just blossomed back into this little boy again. And then about 6 months later, I was on holiday in the same area with my sister. We had to walk the last 2 kilometres into the village because it was so muddy, and we couldn't let him know that we were coming. But I really wanted to see him at school. I wanted to see the end of the story. So we arrive, and there he is in his house. And he said, oh, I want to take you to see the school. It's closed today, but we should go and see anyway. So he disappeared inside, and I'm standing outside talking to his mum, and he walks out in his little white school uniform shirt. And his mum said to me, yeah, I have my son back. So that was a pretty ranks up there one of the most special moments you could have. And so we walked up to the school, and he was in this one-room school here, and just so motivated to study. And he's actually studying in Vientiane now, so it's not the end of the story at all. So he wants to be a doctor, but there's no pressure. Great. So he's a good example of why you need a team of people. He will need a service like this for the rest of his life. He needs to have a leg every so often. Of course, he's growing very quickly now. So we made this story with another local project called Big Brother Mouse. I don't know if you've seen them. Another fantastic bunch of people. And so basically we wanted to tell Santa's story to educate other children about disability, that it's normal and you should, embrace kids back into school. And so it's also a road safety message, because obviously that's a great risk to children here. And I have to say that's me in a cartoon. Flattered or not, the jury's out. And then at the end of the book it says, this is a real story, and if you know someone who's affected by these issues, then you can contact the rehabilitation centre and they might be able to help. So if tourists buy this book in Big Brother Mouse, that gets distributed into villages. It's just another way of getting the message out there. So who knows what his next chapter will be. So that's Mr. Santa.